Okay, let's review the answers to Module 1, Lesson 17, Problem Set. The following circles are not drawn to scale. Find the area of each circle. And notice that it's telling us to use 22/7 as the approximation for pi. So looking at this first one, let's go back to what our area formula is. If 21 is my diameter, then half of 21 is 10.5 or 10.5, which is equal to the R. So area is equal to pi times 10.5 squared. Area is equal to 22/7 times 10.5 squared. So looking at the calculator, here we go. Let's clear it out. And, okay, 22/7 times 10.5. Let's use our squared button. Enter. 346.5. So the area is 346.5. Don't forget your units. Centimeters squared. Okay, let's go to our second one. If the diameter is 81 feet, then the radius is half of that, which is, excuse me, 40.5. So, going back to our formula, A equals, we're using 22/7 for pi, times 40.5 squared. Times okay, and we're going to round that. So 5,155. The area is equal to 5,155. And 1, we're rounding to the nearest tenths. And that would be feet squared. Make sure you always get that square unit when you're talking about area. Okay, we've been given the radius of 155. So area is equal to pi r squared. The area is equal to 22/7 times 15 squared. So let's do it again. 22/7 times 15 squared, and it is 78.4. And this is approximate. 78.4 inches squared. And lastly, we have a diameter of 20, so the radius is 10. Pi r squared is my formula. 22/7 times, and you should know what 10 squared is, because 10 times 10 is equal to 100. So 22/7 times 100 equals 314.2. And that is centimeters squared. And if you round that to the nearest whole number, it'd be 314. Let's move down to number 2. A circle has a diameter of 20 inches. Now we just did a 20 up here, but it happened to be centimeters. So if we're looking for the exact, Please remember that exact means that you keep the pi symbol. So for the exact area, we would write area equals pi times 10 squared. Area is equal to 100 pi inches squared. Now we leave that pi because pi is a never-ending decimal, which means it goes on forever and ever. So when we give a number value, we're actually given an approximate answer. If we want to know exact, we have to keep the symbol. We have to utilize the pi, meaning the symbol. Now if I want the approximate, we're going to use 3.14 times 10 squared, and that happens to be which the area equals 314 inches squared, approximately. What is the circumference? So let's go back to what we know. We know the diameter is 20. We know it's 20. So circumference is equal to 2 times pi times the radius. But remember that 2 in radius is the same thing as diameter. So those are the same thing. So based off of the information you have, you can solve it either way. And since I already know that it is 20, the diameter is 20, I'm going to do 3.14 is equal to, C is equal to 3 1400ths times 20, because that is my D. Which is 62 8/10. So my circumference is equal to 62 8/10. And again, that is inches. Do not put squares because that is like the fence. So it's not measured in square units. A circle has a diameter of 11. So if my D is equal to 11, then my R is half of that. So that's 11 divided by 2, which is 5.5. So the exact area is A equals pi times 5 5/10 squared. So let's just do the 5 5/10, and you can use the square button, which is right here. See that square button? And that gives me a solution of 30 2500ths. So area is equal to 30 2500ths pi inches squared, because it's area. The approximate is going to use, we're going to use this same formula right here, but we're going to substitute 3 1400ths in for the pi symbol. So we can actually take what we've already got and do times 3 1400ths, and it's 94.985, and I'm going to round that to the nearest whole number. So I'm going to round that to, the area is approximately 95 inches squared. And again, we're looking for circumference. And the circumference of that would be using the radius times 2, which is also just the diameter. So I'm going to do the circumference is equal to pi d. So the circumference is equal to 3 1400ths times 11. which is 34 54/100. And again, that is not a square, it's just in inches. Okay, use the figure below. Find the area of the circle. Well, if you notice right here, we've done these before. The length or the height is a total of 10. So that means that is also equal to the diameter. So my radius is equal to 5. So in finding the area is equal to pi r squared. Now we know we know that 5 times 5 is 25. So for this one, we're going to use 3.14 again. So 3.14 times 25, enter, 78 5/10, approximately. Centimeters, and it's the area, the inside, so that is actually a square unit. A path bounds a circular lawn at a park if the inner edge of the path is 132 feet around. So that inner edge is referring to the circumference. So my C is 132 feet squared. Or feet, excuse me, it's not squared. So if my C is 132, okay, that's my C. And circumference is equal to pi times D. Or pi times 2 times R. We'll look for the diameter. If we use 132 is equal to, and it's telling me 22/7 times D. So instead of multiplication, we're going to divide both sides by 22/7. That's a complex fraction. So let's do that. 132 divided by 22/7, enter, is 42. So D is equal to 42. If D is equal to 42, we want to know the approximate area. If D is equal to 42, then the radius is equal to 21. So area is equal to 22/7 times 21 squared. Here we go. So 21 squared times 22/7, 1,386 feet squared. It's approximately 1,386 feet squared. If the area of a circle is 36 pi centimeters squared, find the circumference. So we know the area is equal to pi times r squared. So r squared is r times r. So what is the radius? What number times itself equals 36? 6 times 6. So if the radius is equal to 6, then circumference is equal to 3.14 times 12, because that's 2 times r. And there is your result. Thank you.